So this is video log number 7, and it is about quantitative research and how we might use quantitative research in our group's research project. So quantitative research is all about numbers and facts and figures. So it is like surveys where you can collect demographic data or just like general numbers and figures that can be widely accessible to many different sample size populations and groups. So the difference between quantitative and qualitative, some differences are that quantitative is about the numbers and the data, and qualitative is about the experiences and the opinions. So it's more like the what and then the why, or the how, for quantitative and then qualitative respectively. And I think quantitative data is really useful. I use it in a lot of my science classes and labs because you can use quantitative data in science so that it applies to scientists all over the country and all over the world. And it's not just, these are what scientists here think, or these are the patients or the research participants, what they think in this part of the world. It's, these are the numbers, this is the percentage, this is the probability, which is applicable to all different types of people because it's not just about what these people think and the how and the why, it's just the what. And this is like what these people experience, numbers-wise. So I think for our research, we're going to find a lot more use in quantitative research because what we're looking at is the experiences and how different facilitators of agent and target identities experience triggers and how they work through that. And that's not really quantitative at all. We might use quantitative for demographic purposes since our population is probably going to include, it's definitely going to include facilitators, but once we decide what agent and target identities we want to look at, if any or all, definitely any, but how many different target and agent identities and social identity groups we want to use. So there's going to be the quantitative aspect of these are the numbers that we get, and this is the number of people we looked at in this group and the number of people we looked at in this group for our population. However, we're not going to use, and we're not going to quantify the types of experiences they get. We're going to, if we were to actually do this research project, I guess we're not going to do anything. We would use quantitative research to analyze the feelings and experiences of facilitators and hopefully get some sort of themes, but not something that can be quantified. Like 5 people said that triggers were very horrible, and 2 people said that triggers were really challenging but great, and 7 people said that triggers never happened. We're not going to have that because that wouldn't give very conclusive research, considering that's just the specific experiences of these however many people that was, 20 people. So quantitative research is going to be a lot more useful for us. Qualitative, I don't know if I said qualitative or quantitative. It's very hard to remember what I said because they're so similar. But quantitative research could be used to get the overall census of the population. So one of the problems with quantitative research is that your sample size usually has to be a lot smaller because collecting those experiences and opinions is a lot more time consuming because you have to either have interviews or focus groups and you have the time to actually conduct that and facilitate that, and then the time to collect that and to organize that. And if you're using like a tape recorder, then there's the time to transcribe all of that and then read through and code all of that data and then analyze it and then discuss it and put it into some sort of research paper form. So quantitative research is very time consuming, so the sample size typically has to be smaller to accommodate all of that time and effort you have to put into actually getting quantitative research finished and conclusive. So since most of our research is probably going to be quantitative, we won't have much of a qualitative aspect because our sample size will be small and not large enough to have any sort of quantitative data. But if we were to use it, it would be some sort of demographic of the people represented in our population. So although quantitative research is awesome and useful in many cases, and useful in many of the cases that I work in with my science classes in my genetics major, I don't think it's going to be very applicable to our research, and I find that it's usually less applicable to social research in general, just because of the nature of social research in that it's all about relationships and people's experiences and opinions. So this is the end of video log number 6.